Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about why the Timelost Fatebringer is the absolute king of the Crucible right now. When Grasp of Avarice dropped, I think a lot of us were getting very hyped about the AS Luna, a lot of nostalgia, and we all thought that, you know, the AS Luna was going to be number one, but I still believe that this Timelost Fatebringer is better than the new AS Luna. It's better than an Ace of Spades, and it's also better than an Adept Palindrome, and here's why. For reference, guys, I'm a PS5 player, so I primarily play on controller, but I do think that a lot of these things I'm going to talk about today will translate over to PC quite well. If you like what you see, and if you like what I talk about, please make sure to slap that like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So the Timelost Fatebringer has great stats across the board. It's actually got the highest aim assist and the highest handling across the big four meta hand cannons I just talked about. Although it looks like it gets severely outclassed in range, you've got to remember that Adept weapons and Timelost weapons can take an Adept Icarus grip, which is what most people will be running, and that will give +5 range as well. And you've got to factor in that all legendary weapons most people will be running with Masterwork range, which also gives +10 as well. So I think even when you factor all those things in, an Adept Palindrome will have more range, especially because it can roll with Rangefinder, which a Timelost Fatebringer cannot. But the key perk which separates Timelost Fatebringer from every other gun is Explosive Payload. Now, Explosive Payloads is a nasty perk. Not only does it flinch your enemies, but it also puts a visual effect on their screens which sort of obscures their view, and both of these things combined will help you to win your 1v1 duels. Another great thing about Explosive Payload is that the explosive part of the damage, the 24 that you can see on the screen in my gameplay, that portion of the damage has actually no damage drop-off, which in a hidden way is actually sort of increasing the range stat. Another great thing about Explosive Payload is that you can actually hit the floor and not the opponent themselves and still cause damage to them. Now this is great because sometimes the opponent sort of runs away, runs around the corner, and you just can't get that last shot and they're minuscule. No worries, Explosive Payload, just hit the floor, hit the feet around them, and that blows them up. I think Explosive Payload works even better with Dawnblade as well. Plenty of times you're above your opponent and you just can't hit your shot, but you know, you're hitting the 24 damage from the Explosive Payload when it hits the floor next to them. With 140 hand cannon duels, one of the most common permutations that you hit is 2 headshots and then 1 body shot. This usually leaves them minuscule, and often this is the point where people start panicking. Explosive Payload, even if you miss them, often the 2, 3 to 5 to 10 damage that the explosion creates is enough to kill them, even though you're missing the opponent and hitting the floor next to them. The great thing about Timelost Fatebringer is that it always drops with Explosive Payload, which means you aren't at the mercy of RNGesus. Now, some of you guys will argue that Ace of Spades with a Momentum Mori will absolutely outgun Timelost Fatebringer, and you know what? I do agree. If you've procced Memento Mori, that's going to push the range out because of the damage boost. It's going to give it a lot more lethality, but I think if you need a kill to activate the lethality of a weapon, it's not good enough for 3v3. You need to be able to maximize every single stat bonus, every single advantage you have with the gun before you get a kill. Once you've gotten a kill in a 3v3 game mode like Trials, generally speaking, the round's over. So what is the absolute god roll for the Timelost Fatebringer? Well, it's actually got quite a lot of good barrel options. Corkscrew rifling is a good option, which provides range, handling, and stability. A lot of people swear by Fluted Barrel, which maxes out the handling and makes it feel really snappy. Some people love Hammerforged Rifling and to max out the range. The only two I'd avoid are probably Full Bore and Extended Barrel, which both reduce handling and make the gun feel less snappy. In terms of the rest of the perks, Accurized Rounds is a must for the first column. Explosive Payload, as I said, it always drops with that. And then for the final column, you've got a couple of options. Both Eye of the Storm and Opening Shot are probably the S tier perks to have. Eye of the Storm kicks in when you're low health, and it helps to increase accuracy and handling, which will help a lot in those 1v1 duels, especially the tight ones where you're low health and the opposition's low health. It can help edge out the opponent. Some of my friends absolutely swear by Opening Shot. I think for some people, hitting that first shot in a duel makes the difference. If they miss that first one, they're going to lose. So Opening Shot helps to push the range and the accuracy in that first shot. The other perks in the final column aren't too bad either. Kill Clip is great for 6s, but probably not the ideal perk for 3v3 game modes. Adrenaline Junkie isn't too bad either, and it provides incremental damage boosts whenever you kill an opponent with a weapon or a grenade, and that's the role you can see me using actually within this gameplay. The only perk I'd actively avoid for PvP in that final column is Frenzy. As a result, you've actually got quite a good chance of getting a serviceable role. As Fatebringer always drops with Explosive Payload and Firefly, you're only really fighting for a good PvP perk in that final column. As I've said, there's 4 good perks, so 4 out of 5 is a good chance to getting a serviceable role. For the Masterwork, I'd say there's no real debate here. You definitely want a range Masterwork for that +10 stat and range, so you can push the range out and deal with those Adept Palindromes, deal with those Ace of Spades, deal with those Pulse Rifles, and come out on top. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what I talked about today, please make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with some more weapon reviews and analyses. Peace out.